How y'all doing out there? Chime on in. Chime on in. What's going on, y'all? It's good to see y'all this week. Y'all come on in. You know, every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Y'all come on in.
I'm back.
Over here trying to get things worked out.
Yeah, we was running around literally. We just ran in the house so we could start the show. What up? Chris is in the building. Hey, Chris.
What up, Chris? How you doing, buddy? How we sound out there? We look good and sound good, buddy?
Because you know Chris gonna tell us. Chris is gonna tell us.
Get this mic together.
Yes, sir.
Stay. There we go. It did not want to act right. How y'all doing out there, man? What's up, Chris? How you doing, man?
What's going on?
We got the I'm about to put the invite in the chat right now. Y'all go ahead and get your stuff ready.
Yes.
There's the invite.
Oh boy.
And then
oh boy.
Y'all, how y'all doing out there? How was y'all's day? Everything is good. We're gonna give y'all a minute while we try to get situated. We was rushing, man. We was trying to get
it's been a little.
We had a lot going on
in the last couple hours for sure.
So yeah, y'all let me
Well, while he's doing that, I am Treasure Cheltenham and I am one of the hams.
I'm Sean Cheltenham and I'm one of the hams, and you guys are watching the Ham Show. The Ham Show, y'all, every Wednesday night, 8 p.m. Y'all chime on up. Hey, tonight we have a pretty good topic, I believe. I mean, everything's been going viral on these particular topics. I figured we'd talk about it too and see what's cracking.
Oh, Chris said this week has been tough, but today he finally solved a big problem. What was the problem you solved, Chris? Tell us about it.
Yeah, tell us about what you was doing, Chris. I mean, I already know, but it ain't gonna bother nobody if you tell us how your day or your week went.
Y'all gonna have to excuse me. I'm gonna eat some of these sunflower seeds.
While we waiting on everybody to come on in, we gonna say what's up to Schiff. What up, man? How you doing, man? It's good to hear from you. Schiff hit us with a love.
Shifty in the building.
And then Chris hit us with a like, man. Hey, if you
appreciate
just now chiming on in, go ahead and hit us with a like or hit us in the chat and say what's up. We put the link out there for anybody who wants to talk about the particular subject that we on tonight. So if you're feeling froggish, go ahead and chime on in.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting. Chris said, what now? Said a project at work. I had to do some research on a project and then find the right materials. And oh gosh, it was just an effing mess.
Wow.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, sometimes it be like that, man. But I'm sure you worked it out.
Man.
What do you say?
Said, but this morning I finally brought all the issues together and solved the problem. I feel very accomplished right now.
Well,
yeah,
good.
Chris.
Yeah, that's wonderful.
Yeah.
It's always good to make sure everything gets handled at the end of the day.
Yeah, man. Like, especially when you got some stuff you working on and you finally get it done. Yeah. That feeling of accomplishment at the end of the day. I know me personally, I go to sleep better.
Yeah, for sure.
I ain't even gonna lie. I sleep a whole lot better when I just be like, damn, I did that.
But yeah, other than that, man, I had a pretty decent day. I had a couple meetings I had to go to, but it wasn't that crazy. And everything was going on pretty good. Other than that, it was pretty good.
Well, for me, I finally got an off day. I slept. All I did was sleep. I got up at about 9 something this morning, and I did some work. I'm forever working, so I worked for a couple hours, got the show lined out, and then I went back to sleep, and I woke up around 5 something.
Oh.
Yeah, so literally right when you got home, you saw. Mm-hmm. And then we had to run out, handle some business real quick. And then shit. Now we back here. What'd you say, Chris? Chris said a lot of the things I do are custom, and my projects at home especially have evolved to a point where I can hardly buy anything anymore. Now I have to fabricate my own stuff. Stores just don't see what I need. Yeah, man, when you're doing a lot of home projects for something that you want, that you customly design yourself, it's very difficult to go get it already prefabricated. You gotta, that's the thing about being good with your hands and knowing what to do, because you got to do it yourself. Hell, we had to make our first studio desk, and that was fun though.
Yeah,
it was the first time I ever did something like that. So he had me out there with the, what was that? The router.
Yeah, we was routering the table, and, prepping the wood, and then we did some welding. Welds wasn't that, they didn't look that great, but they worked. They held up. They held up for what?
They didn't look bad.
6-7 years or something.
The welds didn't look bad either though. We did good with the welding. So, like home projects are fun for me because I like to work and do stuff with my hands too. I just realized what you did with the lights. That's nice.
Oh yeah.
I just seen that. That is so nice. So much more. I knew it was room here.
We're gonna get one across here, across the top of our heads.
Oh yeah.
Pretty soon. And we, making some changes, and I want to build a backdrop. So Chris, I got a bunch of LEDs I need to put on a backdrop for the new studio that we're doing up here. So whenever you get some slow time, it'd be nice to get a little, official help.
Yeah. Just let us know what's popping.
Yeah. But yeah, if y'all just now chiming on in, go ahead and hit us with a like, and hit us with the the love, the share, and all that stuff. All the stuff that you got to do on these Potavision things. And then let me get off of here. But yeah, if you don't know what tonight's topic is, go ahead, baby. Tell them what the topic is so we can.
Well, there's been a lot of signing lately going on.
Right.
There's been a lot of executive orders being signed. And so tonight, at the request of one of our faithful followers and listeners, we are going to talk about it.
Oh, yeah. That was what, Adam?
Oh, yeah. That was Adam.
Adam LaRose.
La Rosa.
Yeah, he was on Facebook today talking mess about one of the things that Trump had signed that everybody who know the law know ain't gonna go through. But it is what it is.
Some of the stuff he's signing is good. There's some differences with people and some of the other stuff that he's signing. There's some confusion in a lot of the stuff that he's signing where people have their own perception and their own take on it, not understanding that, what it's going to look like as a whole picture.
Thanks for the like, Mel. Oh, by the way, just to let y'all know, if you don't know who Melly Caliente is.
Mel Caliente.
Yeah, if you don't know who he is, y'all look him up. He's got a nice video out right now, and he's storming the Capitol.
Repost her.
He's killing the game over there in the California area. And
we're gonna learn that dance, and we're gonna post it this week.
Well, I'm not gonna learn the dance. I might break a leg trying to do all the stuff he be doing. That boy be gyrating, boy. Like muscle, he got bones in his body that like not supposed to be there. You know what I'm saying? Like, that boy be getting it. Him and his crew. Then he had the girls in there popping and twerking and stuff. But but that's PG. That's for that's for somebody else.
Yeah, we gonna definitely we always got to give love and shout out the people that fuck with us and we fuck with y'all back.
Yeah, Melly Caliente. Y'all check him out.
Mel Caliente.
Yeah, hey, Mel, if you get a chance, man, put a link to your video in our chat.
Yeah.
That way, if people are interested, they can go ahead and
yeah, man, let's get some more some followers, some subscribers.
Yeah.
Y'all go check out the link. Mel, drop your link to your video, bro.
Put your link in there so when people go through the video, they can see the link.
Check it out.
And check your video.
It's called Repost Her.
Yeah, reposting them.
Repost her.
Right.
You do.
Right.
But
is that like a BC on an email or a CC on the email?
Well, I mean, it could be a little bit of both. You know what I'm saying? That's an RH.
Right.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I'd like to thank Mel for putting the like in the chat for us. But yeah, I guess we can go ahead and get started. You want to start first or what? What you want to do? Ladies first?
Nah, I ain't listen. I've been working.
You been working?
I've been tired.
You been sleeping. You ain't been working.
I've been tired, man. I've been actually doing some work on these last few days. My days, my weeks and stuff is running together.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? We finally got our daughter situated. She been having a blast at her new job. We still got, stuff with the car we got to get fixed or whatever.
What I do?
He done did something. That's why he wanted me to start first, because he done screwed up something.
I didn't do something. Oh, there we go.
So I didn't get a chance to go over some of these executive orders like I wanted to, because I know he's done over 100 of them so far, right?
I'm checking the number right now.
Yeah, I am check the numbers. I think he's done over 100 executive orders, and I only know of a few, but we're gonna talk about some of them tonight. I know Sean is pulling some stuff up right now.
I'm trying to get a list of the orders right now. Sorry, I'm not prepared, y'all.
We was
ripping and running.
We was ripping and running. We literally just ran in the house about 15 minutes ago, and it's 8:11, so that kind of tells you what's going on. So we got to start the show on time, though, no matter what. You dig?
Right.
So
they're not telling me what he signed for 2025. They're giving me a list of everything he signed while he was in his last term. Let me see if I can find something for 2025.
So Chris said, let's talk about birthright citizenship.
Yeah, let's do that. What about it?
You want to come on in, Chris, and talk about it?
Yeah, you can do it on your cell phone too. So if you just press the link, you should be able to. All you have to do is allow when it asks you if you allow the microphone and allow the camera.
Yep, I just put it in there again. So if you want to click that link and get on the video or not, you could just be on the audio. It's all good. But let's talk about it. Let's talk about the birthright citizenship situation. So from what I'm understanding, he signed that 2 days ago or something like that?
Just the other day.
Let's see. Let me go look and see.
Yeah, just the other day. Hold on. Executive order. Revocation of. I'm looking at them now. Hold on. There's a lot of them. So y'all bear with me. It's a whole.
They're saying that the executive order is to end birthright citizenship for children born after February 19, 2025.
Yeah, but that's got to go into the Congress in order for that. You can't do an executive order for something that's not an executive order.
So it does. Okay. So this particular executive order has to be created to be an executive order.
Yeah, but he has to ask the House and the Senate to do. He has to ask Congress to look at it. So this.
Appreciate you, Mel. He just dropped. He said, "Let's just talk about it."
Oh, okay. So birthright citizenship. I guess he wants to end birthright citizenship because he's saying that people are coming in from other countries just to have a baby here, so the baby will have immediate citizenship,
which will kind of give them citizenship, right?
Kind of for them, but the baby will automatically be a U.S. citizen.
Always, Mel. We appreciate you for sharing it.
Oh, he's out.
Y'all make sure y'all check out Mel Caliente's video. Repost her. He put it in the chat. So when y'all get a chance, click on that. Go blow his video up, man. Go share it. Go do everything we need to do to get him viral. What he said?
He signed a lot in the last couple of days.
It's like this dude wake up every day.
Yeah.
And start another one.
Now it's a lot. I didn't even get through half of this list. I tried to get the most important ones, but man, he signed a lot. But yeah, so I mean, what I think about it is this. I think the Constitution is good where it's at. As soon as we start adding stuff to the Constitution, then we have stuff that's like what's going on, where people trying to add themselves to amendments and all kind of other stuff, trying to get in on the fun. They should just leave it alone, let it be what it is. And then
what up, Steph? Well, what you mean by that? Like when you say add themselves to the,
I'm kind of trying to wait for people to get in so we can have that particular conversation, because I got a whole lot to say about that. But you trying to push the envelope and we too early into the show. The hold your horses, pump your brakes. The birthright citizenship is it's difficult because the country, well, the United States corporation and U.S. citizens was built off of that. I mean, through Ellis Island and all the rest of that stuff. So, and then now that we don't use Ellis Island, we use immigration, which is all over the border states. They, try to get visas and become citizens there. The problem with is if they have a child here, then the child is automatically considered a citizen.
Right. So Chris says, my understanding is this. Birthright citizenship in the 14th Amendment was to address former slaves, American blacks. It was not intended for foreigners to gain entry by sneaking across the border and being able to stay if they pop out a baby.
True, but law is
Adam's in the building. What up, Adam?
That is correct, Chris, and that's what the 14th Amendment does say. But law is precise, and the words that you use in law, I don't think that they pretty much understood that this was going to happen, where somebody would say you can't have birthright citizenship, but because the law is so vague, that means everyone can jump on it. And pretty much the 14th Amendment is kind of like the jump on amendment anyway. See, and we're going to get to that later. I think Adam was saying that he wanted to talk about the AI one, right?
He did, and Adam is in the building. Now? He is officially in the building.
But yeah, your understanding of that, Chris, is correct. But the problem they're having is that the 14th Amendment no longer just applies to black folk. It's been what they would call coattailed to other things like LGBT and white folk,
action,
white women, which they're considered minorities, Asians, Latinos, Samoans, stuff like that. They're considered minorities and they fall under the 14th Amendment.
Steph says, what does the Constitution have to do with right? I haven't seen anything, so please school me real quick.
What do you mean with what right?
With birthright.
Birthright citizenship is offered to people who are born on American soil. So if you're born on American soil, it automatically, according to the Constitution, makes that child a U.S. citizen, not an American, but a U.S. citizen. Because if it's born in a state that's incorporated, that means that they would be a U.S. citizen.
Let's bring Adam on in because Adam's in the building. What up, Adam?
I don't see him. He must be in the dark. He talking to us in the dark over there.
No, I might need to do it from the main computer because
what?
I think Adam popped out and popped back in.
Oh, is he back? Oh, I see him. He's on there twice.
All right, let's do this. Let's try this one.
Adam, you there?
Yeah.
There we go. We got him.
Yeah, what up, buddy?
What's going on, bro?
How you doing, man? Good evening.
Hey, Adam.
What's going on, Treasure? How you doing, hon?
What you think about birthright citizenship, bro?
All right. Well, I heard y'all talking about it, and birthright citizenship is actually written into the 14th Amendment. Right. All right. And the way that they wrote it, and there's actually, Sean, if you wanted to look that one up.
Yep, I got it.
In Wikipedia, they actually talk about the debate that took place between the Republicans and the Democrats when it came to writing birthright citizenship into the 14th Amendment. And essentially what they were saying, all right, it was Senator Trumbull and Senator Johnson when Andrew Johnson was a senator. Yep. All right. And the debate that was taking place was that birthright citizenship, the way that we have understood it for most of our lives, because I'm not going to sit there and act like I knew this the whole time. I started researching.
Yeah, I had to read it for myself.
Ditto,
right.
Yeah.
You know
I put it in the chat, guys.
Especially in Southern California, we were all told, okay, well, if you're born here.
Uh-oh, looks like we lost you. Babe, did you delete him?
No.
Looks like he dropped.
We'll bring him back later.
Yeah, Adam, come back on in, man. It looks like we dropped you. You lost signal or something happened. What is that?
What?
What'd you just pop up?
I didn't do
that
anything.
One's the frozen one. Get that one off of there. We can delete that.
Okay.
Yeah.
It won't let me remove it.
I don't know why it won't let me remove it.
Yeah, that's weird.
Adam, do we need to send out a new link? Hit us in the chat if we need to send out a new link. But anyway, the 14th Amendment to the United States Constitution. Here, let me just put it up so you guys can see it. This is from the AI overview. The 14th Amendment in the United States Constitution guarantees citizenship to all people born or naturalized in the U.S. in the United States. It also protects citizens from state laws that violate their rights and gives Congress the power to enforce the amendment. So if it guarantees citizens who are or people born or naturalized. So being born here and naturalized is two different things. So naturalization is when you go to the government and say, hey, like the people who come across the border and they ask for citizenship.
Right.
That's naturalization. But when you're born here, it's automatic according to this Constitution.
That's the difference that people definitely have to understand. There's a difference between the two. People think that being a citizenship is naturalization, and they are completely two separate things. So even when
to be born a citizen is different than naturalized as a citizen.
Right. Even the term when you use being an Indian or whatnot, when people say Indians, Indian, it just means indigenous to the land is what that means, which is naturalization.
He said, this is why I appreciate the opinions of Ice Cube. Ice Cube isn't talking about minorities. He's talking about blacks, descendants of slaves who have been left behind. Yes, you're correct. There, it looks like Adam's back in the scene.
All right.
I don't know what happened right there, Adam, but you know computers, buddy.
Yeah. I shut down all the background apps on my phone too, so you guys have my phone's undivided attention. Plus, it might have been my VPN too, so I don't know.
Yeah.
Chris says,
what did I miss?
I'm sorry, we're reading.
Chris says it hasn't been challenged. If it goes to the Supreme Court, I think it will be interpreted by its original intent. Are you talking about
He's talking about birthright citizenship.
Birthright citizenship?
Yeah. So go ahead, Adam, and finish up what you were saying.
All right. So with that debate that took place on the Senate floor, they were stating that they didn't, like, for example, for tax purposes. All right, and it even says it there on Wikipedia, which is not really a good source, but they kind of cliff noted enough where you can piece it together and make sense of it. If you go to the actual debate, it's much longer winded, but essentially they didn't want it to appear to be have any kind of racial undertones to it as far as trying to segregate anybody. So at the time, and still to this day, actually, American Indians, when they're living on the reservation, they don't pay taxes.
Right.
So the blanket verbiage that they used to cover everybody and not exclude anybody was and subject to the
jurisdiction thereof.
Yes, exactly.
I was just explaining this to somebody on Facebook the other day.
Right. So subject to the jurisdiction thereof gets rid of ambassadors that are in here, visiting and they have a child. It gets rid of American Indians when they're just because they're on American soil does not mean that they're necessarily American citizens just because they were born here, because a lot of them didn't want to associate with the United States, especially back then.
And to piggyback what you're saying is what we call American Indians, they have their own government, and that's why they're not a part of our Constitution.
Exactly. They have their own tribunals mostly.
Yeah.
And but it was to include the former slaves, because the fact that they were owned before the 14th Amendment was presented made them subject to the jurisdiction of the country, because their owners were subject to the jurisdiction of the country.
Right.
Now, as messed up as that sounds, that's just the truth of it. You know what I mean?
That's just what it is. We're talking facts. We ain't trying to hurt feelings right now.
Right. This has nothing to do with emotions. This is facts.
Right. So when you're talking about subject to the jurisdiction thereof, the reason why that is even in the national conversation right now is because Trump basically dared the Democrats to challenge him on enacting the authority of ICE upon the public to get rid of all of the illegal immigrants that came across the border in the last 4 years.
Right.
It was one of those FAFO situations.
Right.
And once they filed the federal charges, to get that EO overturned, that's when he let loose that he was pulling his authority from the 14th Amendment of the Constitution, and that's why everybody started reading the 14th Amendment again. Now,
Right.
how that implicates the entirety of the public is this has nothing to do with just Mexico or just China or
That's everybody.
South America. That's
Right.
We're talking about everybody who
whether
came through Ellis Island.
Everybody.
right. Anybody that came here and did not naturalize was not or their parents weren't naturalized, aren't the descendants of an American veteran, because we have to take that oath when we join. I mean,
Right.
there's a lot of things where if you don't know your history, this might implicate you too. I don't care how dark or light your skin is. It doesn't matter.
Exactly.
And so that's why I find this entire national argument really interesting and very naive at the same time, because a lot of people aren't talking about it to the extent that we're talking about it right now.
Right. And that's why I was hoping that we can get all you people or whoever the naysayers are on here right now, so we could talk it all out, so we can all get an understanding of actually what's really happening out there.
Chris says his I'm first generation American. My parents naturalized. I was born here.
Right.
Yep.
Right. So he would follow under the guidelines of the 14th Amendment, basically. But yeah, the birthright citizenship is pretty much what that is. Stefan, if you have any other questions on that particular thing, I guess we can move on, because that's exactly what it is. And we don't know what the Supreme Court is going to decide, or Congress is going to decide on that particular situation.
Right.
Like, so what the real deal is that
what's your question, Chris?
people are in fear of it because they actually think that this particular executive order he's trying to do is actually going to happen, but it still has to go through Congress.
It still has to pass, yeah.
Right.
Because the 14th Amendment was an amendment, it wasn't an executive order, so he can't just change it.
Correct.
Because we're talking about the Constitution, and to do any type of amendments to the Constitution, it has to be voted.
It has to be done by Congress. It can't be done by the president.
You can't just
Well, it was really smart of him to tether the executive order to the 14th Amendment.
Right.
Because that's where he was deriving his power from, so it's harder to contend.
Right.
Yeah, and he's been trying to do that since his first term.
Right.
That was something that he was talking about.
And even Jimmy and I were joking about it earlier, where he says, "Well, I guess I'm just getting." Yeah, and I was like, I'm screwed because I don't speak a lick of freaking Italian. So.
Yeah, and I think Jimmy's from he's a Swiss, right?
Yeah.
No, he said he's going to get deported back to Scotland, and I was like, well, I don't understand them.
Yeah, that's a whole nother situation.
Yeah.
Chris says, do we agree that people can come here legally and be allowed to stay because they gave birth on this side of the border? Well, that's what the contestment is right now, Chris.
Well, I don't think that's the real issue. The real issue is that the baby can stay, but they can't.
But the parents can't.
Not because the baby's not subject to the jurisdiction thereof.
Exactly.
Because all right, so think about it. You have minors living with you, or kind of rotating out. When I have 4 minors living with me, so they're subject to the jurisdiction of their parents. They're still under your umbrella.
Right.
So if you're not subject to the jurisdiction of the country, then they can't be subject to the jurisdiction of the country. They may as well have been born in America. And I'm just going to Uruguay. Okay.
Yeah.
You have 2 people from Uruguay coming into this country and they have a child. Then that child is a subject to the jurisdiction of Uruguay.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
That's what's being
because they haven't expatriated from Uruguay to America.
Basically, they haven't naturalized.
And that's what, if you guys don't know what naturalization is, that's what naturalization is when you patriate to a country, you're being naturalized into the country under the incorporation, not to the state, not to the states where the land exists. So most people, 14th Amendment people have dual citizenship. They're attached to the state that they were born in, which they have citizenship to that state, and they're also attached to the U.S. government corporation, which is called the United States. So that gives you a membership there and a membership there. So like you have a Costco membership and Sam's Club membership. Just to try to put it in, better.
So it's the same thing like when we explain the terminology, what a true African American is.
Right.
It's an African.
It's somebody from
Africa.
Right. That naturalized
who
here.
Came to America, went through the process of being a citizen and naturalized here.
Right.
And that's why we tell you, Sean and I are not an African American, nor are we Black.
Yeah, well, yeah.
And that's a whole nother show.
Yeah, my bloodline says different. But but that's a whole nother story and show and argument.
It kind of goes with what on topic of what we're talking about to give you some context.
It's an addendum.
Right. Just to kind of give you context, as we're trying to help people understand the difference between both.
So what is Chris saying here?
Chris says African Americans. I've met more Caucasian African Americans than I have Black.
Yeah, like Elon Musk.
Real shit.
Elon Musk is an African. Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
Jordan says my bloodline.
Says different. Yeah, that's my cousin, and yes, we are from America before United States showed up.
Right.
Just put it that way.
Right. So that's what they mean by the bloodline of the land. So we are considered what is indigenous to this land.
Yeah.
So we're Indians.
I can't say we're Aboriginal because we're not an addition to it. We are the original.
We are the original.
So yeah, my bloodline is
right.
But other than that, some of my family, my grandfather was naturalized. He was in the military. His parents was in the military. So, hey, it is what it is. Other than that, if there's any other questions on that, we would like to move on to the next executive order.
Let's do it.
So I believe last time
tonight? So we're talking EOs tonight.
Yeah, that's all we're doing tonight. The whole night we talking about EOs.
That's it.
So the next one that I wanted to talk about was you had mentioned something about the AI executive order.
The one. I don't know if it was an executive order, but he was talking about getting in bed with a company called Oracle, and the premise of it was further research on mRNA with AI backing, so that they can develop a contraceptive. They're calling it a vaccine, but I'm just kind of calling it a contraceptive that is directly linked to your DNA, utilizing AI to make it within 40 minutes. That's pretty much what it's being sold as.
So we're talking about nanobots.
That's what it sounds like.
Okay. I mean, that's already speaking in a language that I am unfamiliar with. You know what I mean?
So nanobots look like what do you call them? They look like parasites.
Yeah, I was going to say like little bugs.
But they're controlled by a computer.
Mm-hmm.
And they're able to pull DNA, change and alter your body, repair your body, and it's in vaccine base. So basically, it comes in a shot.
In a shot form.
They can track you with them. They can, in some cases, they said that they can make you do things that your body wasn't supposed to do.
Yeah, they make you think differently.
So I honestly, I think that they're going to try to use this as a military enhancement to soldiers first, the nanobot parts. But what you're talking about with the contraceptive is that they're trying to control population with that.
Yep.
Right.
Yeah.
Yep.
And then so I looked up that particular order, and Trump's executive order basically released them to do whatever type of testing that they wanted to. So before Biden had sanctions on it, you couldn't do certain things with it. But now all those sanctions are lifted. So in 2021, Biden put out an executive order basically monitoring AI on how they can use it, when they can use it, and where they can use it. But now all those sanctions are lifted. There's no sanctions.
So basically he can go ham with it. he can just run amok. He can. So,
Do
but
you
here's
think
my question though: do they have it where people can sign up for it? Because there's going to be somebody that goes, "Yeah,
somebody's going to sign
I
up,
want to try it."
just like they did Elon Musk's Neuralink? He had a bunch of people sign up
Yeah.
for that.
Because you're gonna have to. I'm sure you're gonna have to sign some sort of waiver.
And Neuralink is part of AI too, because
Mhm.
that's what the Tesla cars run off of. They run off of Neuralink,
Mhm.
and he's installing that chip in people's brains.
You're always going to have
So you have
people
to
that
push it.
volunteer for this stuff.
Right.
Oh yeah.
I mean, how many people jumped on the bandwagon to get that mRNA vaccine?
Oh man,
Just
they was up
because it
in
was
there heavy time. Who's in the private chat?
bunch of people. Bunch
Oh,
of
Adam
people.
put it's written in the 14th.
Chris says, I don't really believe anything I'm seeing at face value. I find it interesting. This AI announcement comes after the election. It is a coincidence Elon Musk gets a cabinet position while on the cusp of mass producing robots that can do human labor jobs. Well, yeah, this was all.
Well,
this is
yeah,
all a ploy.
I'm sure Elon
Yeah.
has some type of interest in what's happening in the United States.
Absolutely.
I mean, right now he's campaigning hard over in Europe, so
that wasn't coincidence at all. Elon being involved in this was not coincidence. As a
no,
matter
it's
of fact, it was campaigned on.
exactly, and also that it's kind of like a catch-22 because we need the innovation of Elon to stay on top economically, but at the same time, what are we building? You know what I'm saying? I think
Right.
we're gonna move into some things like how the Terminator movie was, where
You might not be too wrong right there, Sean, because
especially
Elon,
when he's talking about building this Iron Dome.
Mm-hmm.
well,
He wants to
he was Elon's been talking about Neuralink type ideas for years, where
right,
you can do anything from, and I mean he's even though you see these ads every once in a while for the Tesla phone, okay,
right.
Elon Musk has no interest whatsoever in getting involved in cellular technology.
No, hell
No.
no. He wants the
He's been
access.
public, right?
He
He's been
wants the
public
access
about
to the
that.
signals, not
That's
Right.
all. He
yeah,
wants them towers.
He wants to go straight to the brain,
right.
and that's yeah. I kind of like being a human.
Yeah, me too.
Yeah, for real.
Me too. I don't think I'm ready to see cyborg type people either.
Well, going back to what we were saying with the jab, let me be careful about what I say. With the jab in that mRNA, they were already saying that this stuff was in there in the first place, so that when you got it, you were no longer considered human.
Right. Yeah. If you
So-
took the mRNA shot,
Yep. Or Johnson and
you're
Johnson.
no longer, or the Johnson and Johnson, that the ones that use the mRNA stuff, you're no longer considered a human being anymore. You're considered something else.
Which is leading me to believe that it's getting into this whole AI situation, because now, if that's true, now you got people walking around with a database inside of them that they can access, the government or whoever, Elon, Trump, can access. So if these things are supposed to be able to control people, you already got people walking around as AI right now, and they don't even know it.
Well, here's something to ponder. All right, the interesting part of the mRNA vaccine that was made, that was a preface for it being distributed across the country, was that you cannot sue the companies for
Yeah,
any
they made
side
you sign
effects.
NDAs.
Yep.
Yeah.
So I'm wondering, and this is okay. So this might be tinfoil hat, but I'll put it out there just because that's what I'm kind of speculating right now. If you can't sue them and they have their property inside of you, is that kind of make a little bit more distinct link between you're no longer considered a human?
I think that's where the thought process is coming from. Now, those I can't say that them not considering them humans is a fact, because I haven't seen congressional record or anything filed that says it's that.
Right.
But they did make everyone sign or say that they would not be sued, and hence all the pardons that they got at the last minute right before Trump walked into office.
Because and here we go, rounding right back to freaking the 14th Amendment again.
Right.
Yep.
Right.
You can't own a person.
Right.
Right. So, but if you're not considered a person,
there you go.
Exactly.
So, and what classifies that is a foreign substance being inside of you that somebody can control. So now you're considered artificial intelligence, even though you got a heart.
So is that what they would call digital slavery?
Absolutely, I think so. I think that's a part of it.
That would be digital slavery.
I think that's a part of it, because now, especially if this thing is so sophisticated to where you can sit at a computer and program it to say, I need this person to do X, Y, and Z when they go to work, and then the person does it. Like if it's that sophisticated, now you're talking about this person is not even a person, they are considered property.
Right.
And now you're property of the government without even knowing it. And a lot of people, I guarantee you, if you go back and read whatever it is that they signed.
Or worse. Yeah.
Oh yeah.
Yeah.
Whatever
Not
it is that
necessarily
they
the government. Maybe
Right.
a property of Pfizer, maybe a property of Johnson. That's
part.
Messed up.
That part.
Right.
That part. And now they can do whatever they want. They can use you to do whatever they want to do to you. And I'm pretty sure that whatever these people sign, they didn't read the paper. They didn't read the fine
whoever
print.
reads that shit. No one ever
Nobody
read.
I guarantee you there's something in there saying that we get to call you at any given time, have you come into our clinic, and we get to give you something else just to see if it works. And we're going to find out sooner than later.
You got to see.
I'm reading what it says. It says
one-line stuff all the time.
Yeah, it says, what is mRNA? And it says messenger RNA is a type of genetic material that carries instructions from DNA in the cell's nucleus to the ribosomes, which are responsible for protein synthesis in the cytoplasm.
Mm.
It acts as a blueprint, and it has it in parentheses, a blueprint for building proteins, which are critical for countless biological functions in our bodies. Okay, so how it works. It says transcription. mRNA is transcribed from a gene in the DNA. So it attaches yourself to your body.
To your DNA.
This is essentially a copy of the DNA code. So this is what you were just talking about, Adam, where it copies, it enters you, it calculates your DNA, and then starts to replicate itself.
Right.
Translation
is going to take over your body.
So first part is transcription, where it makes a copy of you, and then translation. Once mRNA leaves the nucleus and enters the cytoplasm, ribosomes read it and use it to assemble amino acids into proteins. They basically can try to grow parts back.
It's a mutation. It's literally a mutation of your body.
What'd you say?
Of your DNA.
And with how dumb our Congress is and how dumb our senators are, do you really trust them with writing any kind of
hell no
intelligible?
Dude, they're having a hard enough time with TikTok. You think they know about mRNA, bro?
You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Yeah. It says mRNA and vaccines.
Crazy times we're living in.
mRNA vaccines, like the Pfizer and Moderna, the jab people, use the small piece of synthetic mRNA.
Say it again for the people in the back.
So a small piece of synthetic mRNA to instruct
cells. For those who don't know what synthetic is, it's fake. It's not real.
To instruct cells to make a protein that triggers an immune response.
That triggers?
Well, no, the biggest part is this. It instructs a cell. It tells the cell. It's playing God. It tells the cell what to do. It said in the case of the jab.
So it's releasing white blood cells.
Huh?
So you're saying that it instructs the cell to do an immune response, which basically means it's triggering white blood cells within your body.
Exactly. And it said in the case of the jab, the mRNA in the vaccines tells cells to produce the spike protein found on the surface of the virus. This primes the immune system to recognize and fight the virus if it is encountered in the future. mRNA vaccines do not alter your DNA.
Yes, they do.
But
it just said it did.
No, but listen, it says they do not, but they didn't say that it is incapable of.
Does it say anything about how it gets rid of it?
It doesn't.
I don't think it can.
So let's say, can you do a flush of your body to get rid of all that, or is it like a permanent addition once you take it?
There was a guy I was watching today on a show, and he was showing people if they took the jab, that with the neodymium magnet you can find out where it is in your body because the magnet will stick to you.
We'll find it.
And that's so messed up. That's so messed up.
And I've seen people doing that.
I don't know how accurate that is, but
I've seen people on TikTok that were showing you. They was like, watch this, and they would take a magnet and put it on certain parts of their body. Most of the time, it was their forehead right here.
Yeah. So this particular person was in her left shoulder. The man, it's crazy. It says mRNA vaccines can be effective, though mRNA naturally degrades quickly in the body. So that's why they keep having them repeat the shots.
Yeah, the jabs. That's why you got to keep on doing it. So going back to what you said, Adam, getting rid of it, I think ultimately you can get rid of it. And here's where this other thing comes into play, the food. This comes into play because the way people are eating, it's making them sicker. It's making them constantly go to the doctor. And now I do feel like they're going to be putting things in prescriptions that have a lot to do with this mRNA stuff and not telling people because they're trying to start, because especially with this executive order. So where before, if you stay healthy enough and you don't have to go to the doctor to get, some ibuprofen 800s or something simple or whatever it may be, you're not susceptible to getting any of the stuff that they're putting into the medicine now.
Check this out.
So I think that you possibly can at some point with cleansing yourself properly, because this thing attaches to your DNA.
Right. Check this out. It says mRNA and precision medicine. mRNA is seen as a potential tool for personalized medicine, where treatments could be tailored to the specific genetic makeup of a person, disease or condition. And then it's asking me what I like to know further on these aspects and how it could any questions about MI.
So they're gonna make it seem like medically that this is the best.
That they're helping people out.
But if it can do that, it can also give you a disease too.
Right. If it can take away disease,
it can give you one too.
That's what it said it did with the vaccine. It was saying that it's giving you the disease.
It did. That's exactly. Even when you got sick and you didn't get the jab, trust and believe there are certain things that's different about you. There's certain things that's completely different about your DNA, because even with getting sick from the vid and not getting the jab, there was something in that, because every time you got it, it transformed into something else. It mutated. So when he got it and I got it, it was different. And I've had it twice.
Yeah. When my wife got it, it laid her out for a week. When I got it, I couldn't taste anything for like 4 days.
Man, it put me in the hospital, bro.
He lost his foot
my leg
because of it. For me, my body reacted in a way that my body almost laughed at it. So I would be sitting here just like I'm sitting here talking to you, and I would feel my insides burning. I'm burning up right now. But if you touch me, my temperature was fine. So my body was bad, like my white blood cells was doing what they were supposed to do. But it was like there were certain things that I would feel going on that was inexplainable. You know what I mean? It's hard to even explain it.
Chris says it's all about eugenics. It never went away. It just evolved. And that's true, man. I believe that too.
You know what? I agree with Chris.
Yeah.
I agree with Chris.
Yeah, I agree. I believe with Chris too. Especially how Mr. Gates is doing the food thing too, bro. So
no, seriously. And Chris said the food issue, he was like, damn, Treasure, something I haven't thought of. Very good of you to consider that, because that's what it is, bro. Think about all these videos that have been coming up where people are busting open these fake watermelons. You can't get anything in the store now that's seeded. And if you can get it, you got to search for it. It's hiding in the back somewhere. It's not even in the produce section anymore. They're not even telling you how much it costs. And if they do tell you how much it costs, it's usually 2 or 3 times more than something that's seedless.
Yeah, because I went to go find a seeded watermelon, and I had to go to the back of the store where they don't show the stuff, and
where the walnuts were,
and it was 1.5 times more expensive.
Yes,
than it was than the one without seeds.
And it wasn't even legal.
Yeah, Cardenas.
Yeah. Go to Cardenas.
I hit the Latino stores all the time.
Yep, that's where you got to go. I mean, you know what? We're all used to going to the normal grocery stores that we all know of. Your Smiths, your
and we got to stop.
Yeah,
Smith's, Vons, Aldi's, and all the rest of that.
Albertsons.
Yep.
And we got to stop because they are not. That's the first place it's happening. It's been happening in our food. First of all, it started in our water.
Mm-hmm.
When you look at America, we're the only ones that put fucking fluoride in our water, right? It started there. And if you really know how bad fluoride is for you, go look it up. So it started with the water, then it started getting into the food, and then they started talking about, well, the food is what's the word they use for it now? What's the word? Organic. It's not organic if it was watered.
Right.
And that's the problem. If you're watering it with the water that's here, it's no longer organic because there's fluoride in that. So it's like the way you can attack people is through their DNA makeup. And they're doing that.
So let's move on. Let's talk about DEI. What do you think about that? This is the whole part that's pissing all of America off.
That's where the fight is really finna start. Like,
no, I don't think it's gonna start with DEI. I know that there's certain players that are out there in our communities that are trying to make it start with DEI. I don't think so. I mean, look at the people that we interact with. Look at the working class. Mm-hmm. All right, Treasure, I know damn well, or Sean, you don't give a shit who is working, on a system set up with you as long as they're pulling their weight. Treasure, do you really care what color the person is next to you in a freaking man basket as long as they know how to operate or help you out in what you're doing?
That's all.
I mean,
as long as you know the job.
Yeah.
Hell, I even like the fact that you're different because I get to ask you questions about your culture. You get to ask me questions about mine. We get to learn each other. So for me personally, I think it's the dopest shit ever.
Right.
Yeah, on that premise, I don't think that's the real issue that people are talking about. But
that's what it is though, Sean.
Well, I don't think it's just that. I think DEI was an excuse for people to say that you wasn't qualified, but we're gonna give you the job anyway. But even though
it was artificial manipulation of the workforce,
right? And the problem that I have with it is that the jobs that they're talking about, you had to be qualified to be in the fucking jobs.
Right.
So like if you're a doctor, is there such thing as a DI doctor?
Right. I don't get that part.
Where?
Yep. Where?
Where?
In the military.
Oh, in the military. See, I don't know. I don't know that.
Really?
Yeah. Look at the admiral that was going out there freaking doing the COVID nonsense. They were all okay. So here's some insight that I can actually speak to. This isn't tinfoil hat anymore. All right. So when I was in the military, in the Navy specifically, and if I'm not mistaken, the last was an admiral. So he comes from the same background that I do. All right. The mandatory PQSs, which is a qualification, okay, mandatory qualifications that you have to have when you're in the military. One of them is basic damage control, and that escalates into higher levels of damage control. But in basic damage control, there's a part of it that's called CBR, that stands for chemical, biological, and radiological warfare. All right. Now, the part that pertains to us is biological warfare because COVID was a biological agent. All right. So everything that they were telling us, that Admiral, Dr. Fauci, et cetera, was completely contradictory to what we were taught in the military on how to protect yourself if you're in a biologically contaminated environment. So that's one. Now, as it pertains to DEI, there was measures that were going out throughout the military that people were getting, and this is what Trump reversed in one of his EOs, okay, is getting rid of the DEI. People were getting promoted based off of the color of their skin and their ethnicity rather than meritorious service. Okay. It doesn't matter whether, well, when it comes to the officer ranks, they don't have to take a test anyway. But when it comes to the enlisted ranks, you do have to take a test. But the other side of that is more or less sort of a selection based off of what evaluations that you were getting from your chain of command, et cetera, et cetera. And so that was playing a part in how they were promoting people up through the ranks for the last 4 years. It was DEI. Now, I'm not saying that that admiral that they had as the Surgeon General for the country didn't earn his way up to being a 4-star admiral. But what I am saying is that it's very suspect that you had a black 4-star admiral, Surgeon General, and the person that replaced Milley in the Joint Chiefs was a black general.
Mm-hmm.
All right.
What makes it suspect?
Statistically speaking, the probability of two separate black men from two separate branches being the top, the highest qualified generals and or admirals in their field is extremely unlikely.
And and that's what I'm saying. So that's the argument I'm having with it is that you're saying that they got the okay. So if they got the opportunity because they had a certain color, why don't you think that they were qualified?
Because we have a 4-year history of them implementing a DEI program within the military that made them more readily capable of making rank within the structures that they were.
But isn't that sanctioned from the government? The DEI
No,
initiative?
It's under the purview of the executive branch. So Biden.
Right.
DOD,
So what I'm saying is that
that's
they're the ones. I've never served. So my assumption is that no matter what rank you are, you do what you're told.
That's not entirely true. When it comes to the officer ranks, okay, well, it is true for, I would say, more than 75, actually way higher than that, probably 90% of the military.
So what I'm saying is top down, from all the way from the president to military. If the president says, hey, this is what we're doing, whether you like it or not, that's what's happening.
Okay, so the top down chain of command is going to be the president, and then it's going to be the secretary of defense, then it's going to be the secretary of your branch. So each branch has their own secretary. And then it goes down to whoever the chief officer of your branch is, and then it filters down from there. However, if the directive through DEI is that only people of this demographic are allowed to be promoted through up these ranks, then you're artificially changing the demographic of what the higher ranks are going to be. So certain people would only be presented to Congress to actually get those promotions so that they can move up into the ranks and have a and become the people that they were becoming. So
what
they would still have to be qualified.
That's what I'm saying. What are the checks and balance that says that they're qualified or not? I don't think it. I think okay. So the color part of it, I understand what you're saying there, but they couldn't do the fucking job if they couldn't do the job. That's what I'm saying. Like, what the fuck?
All right, and I agree with you, Sean. Trust me, the DEI program that was implemented throughout the military didn't piss anybody off more than it pissed me off. Even though I'm no longer in the military and I'm not affiliated with that shit.
And why did it piss you off?
It pissed me off because there was already nepotism that was going on in the military without.
That's not DEI though. That's not DEI.
Right. And I'm not saying that it is. But what I am saying is that there was already nepotism going on within the military without DEI involved.
Right, which that's in the world. That not only in the military. At my job, it's the same way.
Yeah, that's everywhere.
Right. No, I know that. I mean, come on, I'm not green. You know, it's not like my first day in a workforce.
No, I'm not saying it for you. I'm saying it for the people who are watching you and I.
Right. Oh, okay, I got you.
Yeah, so, we are still on a show, even though it feels like we're just talking on a Zoom.
Right,
it's still
we still got a host.
Yeah.
Right. Okay. So then when you implement a program like DEI, then you're narrowing down your base of people. So it doesn't matter if DEI is the forefront of how you're getting promoted, and then it goes into qualifications, then what you're doing is you're taking merit and you're putting it at the bottom of the list instead of at the top of the list.
I understand.
First, you're qualified based off of whatever demographic that you associate with. Then you take a test. So if you're taking a test that only 50% of the people will even qualify for, and the top 25% of the people that are automatically qualifying for it are based off of whatever demographic they associate with, then what you're really doing is you're hyper inflating that rank structure within the military to make sure that you're setting yourself up for failure. Yeah, you're setting yourself up for failure. If your qualification to get promoted from E5 to E6 was you have to be a trans, all right, then what you just did was you just sabotaged your ranks within whatever field that we're talking about. That's what happened.
Right, but are they taking a test to get to that next level?
That's only in the enlisted ranks. When we're talking about officers, they don't take tests. They're
So
based off of
what do they get promoted?
They're based off of qualifications and evaluations. So the problem with the qualification standard when it comes to the military is most of the qualifications outside of the schooling that's required for it. All right, schooling you can't really fudge too much.
Right.
You have to actually pass the schooling. But when it comes to the interdivision qualifications that are mandatory for whatever command that you're working at, all right, those ones can be signed off, and in a lot of instances they are. So
by
people
who?
are making.
So does that part of it come up to the friends and family, or does it have to do with DEI?
It's very rarely family. So let's go ahead and take that out of there because
So what about friends?
Friends and kiss asses, yes.
Yes,
absolutely. You can get your PQS signed off relatively quickly. Now, what we call that in the military, in most instances, we call that gun decking because you don't know the position that you're doing, but you are qualified to hold that position. So if you're doing it from a place of ignorance, which is extremely dangerous to not only the people that are working with you, but also to the military just as a whole. You know what I mean?
So in that case, I can understand that because we are talking about people's lives.
Right.
So where the real issue is in the streets where you have the same thought process of DEI and you have like, okay, say for instance, some of the companies that I work for, the upper administration all look like you. And they always had one guy or two guys or a woman who didn't hold a high rank, but they were what you would consider a DEI hire. But if there was no DEI, there wouldn't be any color or diversity in there at all.
Well, you do have affirmative action, which is still
part of DEI.
Which is they just piggybacked it to DEI.
Yeah, same thing.
So I think that honestly, I think that in some cases it's really needed because we're talking about economics. When you're talking about DEI, really it's about economics. I find it hard to believe that now you might have your nuances or people who come in and they just don't know what the hell they're doing.
Right.
But I find it hard to believe that the bulk of DEI is not qualified to do the job or don't know how to do the job. I find it highly hard to believe.
All right.
Especially in some of these situations.
So do you believe that there is a tier of qualification where somebody can actually be overqualified for a position, but because of their abilities, they are more deserving of a promotion than somebody next to them?
Yes and no.
Okay, and it has nothing to do with demographic. All I'm saying is
yes
that
and no. The
there's a
reason
way
being is there's been cases where I've been told that I've been overqualified to do a position.
I have,
and
too.
I thought I said, this is the position I applied for.
Right.
So you're saying that I can overachieve the job, but you won't give me the job.
But you won't give me the job. I had a lady actually tell me
that's
to my
fucking
face.
Stupid.
A lady sat down and told me, I don't even know why I called you in here because you're overqualified for this position.
And that's stupid. I came to get a job.
And I'm thinking, if I'm overqualified for
so
it,
basically I should have lied to you and told you
you won't have any issues.
That I can only do what the job says I can do, even though I know more than that.
I've had to dumb my resume down so that I could get a job.
And then on the other hand, yes, I agree. I agree both ways. I think it's a double-edged sword.
It really is. It really is.
But I don't think. Okay, so the problem I'm having really with it is when I tried to search who was the DEI hire in the Department of Labor, they don't do those statistics. So who the fuck
of course
do we
they're
know?
not.
But why don't? So how do I know who's what?
Okay, well,
to say why the fuck are you doing this? How do I know? How do I know?
Okay, so you take it straight out of the horse's mouth. All right. So you went from what the hell was that? Peppermint Patty, the first speaker. What was her name? She works for CNN now, or MSNBC rather.
What's her name?
She was the press secretary, the first press secretary for Biden. I always called her Peppermint Patty because she looked like Peppermint Patty.
So let me look her up.
Oh my goodness, I can't think of her. But anyway, she was replaced by Karine Jean-Pierre.
Right.
All right. And then you had Biden got an appointee for the Supreme Court, which, he was granted that appointee. And he said flat out that he was going to appoint a black woman to the Supreme Court.
Right.
So there was nothing meritorious about that. If it wasn't a black,
no, not in saying that.
Right.
But
and
when have we known Biden to
say anything
actually,
of substance
to
or
articulate
not
himself
stupid?
in the proper manner? You know what I'm saying?
Right. No, I get it, but the fact that there's not statistics to show it, in the Department of Labor, does not mean that that they don't exist and that the policy wasn't implemented.
True.
That's what
and I'm not saying that it doesn't exist. I'm saying that we as American people can't even go, what are you talking about, bro? DEI is working or it ain't working.
Right.
Because there's no stats on it.
Right.
That's been released to the public.
I'm just saying, Sean, if you were president of the United States, of all the people, 330 million people in this country, would Karine Jean-Pierre be your press secretary?
I don't know her background. I can't answer that. Like,
no, honestly, I'm talking about how she delivered whatever message that she was trying to deliver in the White House. She called the freaking Nord Stream pipeline the Nordstrom pipeline.
Right.
Okay.
Which, it
is her responsibility to know the damn difference between a department store and a freaking gas pipeline. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and I do know what you mean. Obama's person was better, and the chick that's up there now is better at speaking than Jean-Pierre was.
If there's one thing that I can hand to Trump, Kayleigh McEnany and this new chick, what's her name, Kathleen something?
Yeah, Kathleen.
Oh my goodness, they are so much better press secretaries.
They're quick. They're quick and they're on their feet.
They are. They handle it.
But Jean-Pierre worked for Biden, bro. Like, they can only say, like, when you work for someone who's not great at articulating themselves, it's hard to be articulate on something that has no articulation. It's kind of weird to regurgitate what your president wants when he's not, like, he's got mush for brain.
That's basically what Chris just said. He said that, honestly, I think Karine Jean-Pierre did okay. I just nuked her name, but I think she did well. I think her biggest problem was Biden. Defending Biden was a hell of a task.
Defending Biden was, dude, I don't think anybody, look, James Earl Jones wouldn't have been able to defend Biden, and he's got the best speaking voice in the business.
That would have been awesome. You know what? I would have liked Biden a lot more if James Earl Jones was the secretary. You know, Darth Vader's up there.
Yeah.
That'd be awesome.
Yeah. So, I mean, yeah, I understand. In some cases, I understand. But what I'm saying is like every time I hear someone speak on DEI, they see a person of color and they say, well, they shouldn't be there. Right. Even though that people of color are 13% of the population. So it's not like there's a lot of them.
And let's talk about statistically proven. People of color are actually statistically proven smarter than everybody else.
And then on top of that,
because people of color has created,
I'd like to add 90% some DEI,
of the shit that we use today.
The biggest DEI hires that I've seen has always been white women.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, that's true.
And they're considered minorities in the 14th Amendment agenda. Mm-hmm. Title IX is what made them a minority with the women's movement.
I didn't know that. That's news to me. So I never looked that deep into it. The specialty class, you know what I mean?
Only reason why I looked in it so deep.
I think number 2 would be Hispanic women too, Adam.
Yeah, so really it's all women that are actually getting those particular jobs. And when I looked in deep, see, I did like a 5-hour dive into it, and I was like, what the hell is going on with this? Like, because it was supposed to originally, the 14th Amendment was supposed to help just black folks.
Right.
And then everyone else rode the coattail.
They started attaching themselves to it.
Yeah.
You had Title IX with the women's movement, which was mainly white. Then you had the LGBT, the alphabet people jump on the 14th Amendment, so they can do things in contracts in the world. Yep. So the 14th Amendment was pretty much put into action for black people to be able to contract with the government or with someone else in the street. It was about economics. It had nothing to do with what people are talking about, what it is now.
That's right. It's been bastardized over the years.
So, and the reason, and I'm like, so on one hand, I'm saying, well, people of color didn't go in there and argue and say, no, this is for us and fuck y'all, like everybody else does.
Right.
And you know I'm glad that you brought that up, Sean, because you know who wrote the 14th Amendment? It wasn't
it was Lyndon Johnson.
People.
Yeah. Well, they brought it.
No. Lyndon Johnson wrote the Civil Rights Act of signed. He didn't write it.
He signed
14th Amendment was written,
but it was written by black folks. And all these benefits that everybody's talking about, or why is that black person? They must be DEI. They wrote the fucking whole law on why you can do what you're doing today. That's why I'm like, dude, we can't be that stupid and be called DEI and not qualified, and we're writing the law for you to say what you're actually fucking saying.
And that's why I made the point that I made before. It's statistically proven people of color, and when I say people of color, I'm talking about black, Hispanic, all of that. People of color. So we're talking about us.
I'm a big idiot, guys. Ask anybody. I just pay attention to stuff.
Dickheads like Obama.
But you're still a person of color too, though.
Dickheads like Obama, who did nothing for the people who looks like him.
Only when I'm in the sun too long.
Allowed everyone else to piggyback on something, on a benefit that was supposed to be just for those people, and he allowed them other people. And then now that Trump has a thing for people that has an alphabet on their name, it fucking killed the whole deal for everyone else.
So to say it again for the people in the back, because they are lacking understanding on that.
Well, hold on 1 second, Sean. Let me back that up just a smidge.
Okay.
And here's the part where it's got me conflicted.
Okay.
All right. Because Trump campaigned on and acted on, once he got into office, that people that refused to get the jab that were in the military would not only be accepted back into the military, but with back pay.
Right. That's an executive order that just went out.
Right. So if there is some sort of agenda attached to this mRNA nonsense, why would he do that?
I don't quite know. And that part of it, I don't think that has anything to do with DEI.
I don't think it does either. I think it has anything to do with being
No, it doesn't.
correct.
But you're it's just we're talking about issues, and there's so much that doesn't make sense. You know what I mean?
And that's the whole purpose of why I'm having this type of Discord is so we can try to get some type of understanding on what's happening. Because the information you gave me about the hierarchy of the military, I would have never known that if you didn't say it.
Right. No,
so
I get
the whole purpose.
Most people wouldn't really.
Right. So the whole purpose of us having this conversation is so everyone can get some understanding. So like I'm not appalled or nothing, because I don't think that people who look like me went up to the polls and put pressure on these fucking senators and congressmen on saying, why are you allowing these people to jump on a bill that we built ourselves?
Right. Because we're not doing.
So they just sat at home and benefited from it and didn't fight for it. And I've been taught as a child that the kingdom has been taken by force, and that's the only way to take it.
And so was I. I mean, we all grew up in the same era. You know what I mean? And that's the part that a lot of people are having, and I don't even understand why people are having a hard time understanding why us Gen Xers are coming out of the freaking woodworks and just being like, what in the hell are you guys doing?
Exactly.
You know, they're thinking that we're just going to jump on the bandwagon where, oh, well, he deserves this job because he's black, or he deserves this job because he's white, or she deserves this job because what the hell are you talking about?
That's not what I'm saying. I'm saying that what I'm saying is that if that's why people, if that's the stigmata of affirmative action, then kill the bill.
Yeah.
If that's the stigmata of DEI, then kill the bill. Because in reality, people of color didn't put the 14th Amendment in act in the civil rights movement for us to be called, oh, he's a flunky, but he got the job because of his color. Right. That's not why we did that.
Right.
Well, where I was going with it, Sean, was it's our time. Right. You realize that you know the boomers are freaking dying off. It's our time.
They're almost gone.
And I kind of think that what they're doing is they're shotgunning all of these different ideas out there and seeing if we're going to stick to it, because most of them were not, because we all grew up together. We all grew up just like it is what it is. You know, we'll do what we do. And I think that they're trying to figure out how to connect with Gen X, and everybody's having a hard time with it because we don't have all the information. I mean, I was completely candid with you. I have no idea what you're talking about with nanobytes or nanobits or whatever you were talking about.
Yeah, well, sometimes I dive into some deep wormholes that are like, but I'm interested in it. I'm interested in what the future is for my legacy, so I can have them prepared in the future. So I study.
You and me both, brother.
So like what's happening now, I predicted 10 years ago, and I told my wife, you need to be prepared, and everything we own needs to be paid off by this date.
No, he did. And that was the game plan that we put into motion. And even with our children, preparing them and prepping them for the future is something that we've been, doing.
Jordan says that DI only had 4% of blacks in the organization, inside the federal organization. And he's military too.
So,
hold on. Let me read this real quick, because this is where we're going with this. Chris says, my view of DEI is that it was for the LGBTQ plus.
I believe that they hijacked the movement.
Yes.
That people had put hard work, blood, sweat, and tears in.
Yes.
From 1860 something to now, they've been slowly hijacking it, and people of color have been sitting back and watching it happen.
Because let's talk about the whole thing when you're talking about your rights. First of all, your rights as an American, you already have those same rights that we have. We were talking about the rights that black people were being taken. Their rights were taken from them. So as a person that's LGBTQ, you already had rights.
Oh, I'm sorry, Adam. I'm sorry, baby. What I was trying to tell you before is that in affirmative action and DEI, merit should have been first, period.
Absolutely.
Then the color.
Yep.
Right. Then if it was a woman. Then if it was, I think
that's more divisive if you even add color into it, because I mean,
well, the reason being is because it was an economic bill. It was because when blacks were introduced into the United States, the corporation, they didn't have contracts where they can be economically okay.
Right.
That's what it was written for.
Remember,
it was so we can have inclusion into the prosperity of America. That's what it was originally written for.
On the books today, Black people are still considered 3/5 of a man. So it was all about us going from
which has been amended from that to the 14th Amendment.
So the 14th Amendment.
Right.
So it's all going back from being considered property to actually being considered a human being with rights.
So if you really look at it, if you were a slave and you're in the United States, you came in through naturalization.
Mm-hmm.
You didn't come in through birthright.
Mm-hmm.
And the 14th Amendment was written so they can do contracts with the government and with people outside of the government. And it was supposed to be because as of right now, I believe in the workforce, 76% of government workforce is all white. 12% totality in the government workforce is someone of color.
Right. So
then it hits Asians. Then it hits. You see what I'm saying?
And even Asians is people of color. Believe it or not.
Here's a messed up thing. Okay, and I understand that you're looking at statistics when you're talking about this, and I fully get that. Government jobs are probably some of the worst jobs that you can have.
I agree too. I agree with you.
We make more as Teamsters than most government workers will ever.
I agree.
So, I agree. But notwithstanding, okay. Where I'm going with it is, Morgan Freeman said it best when he was asked about, well, what do you think about getting rid of cultural racism? And he says, stop talking about it.
True, I believe that, but I don't think we're there yet.
I think that we're beyond there. I think that we're getting roped, and this is my opinion. Okay, I think we're getting roped back into the 1800s on freaking purpose.
Oh yeah,
yeah. I think it's an agenda.
I think we're all getting drugged back into a national discussion that was settled long ago, long before we were ever born, just to keep that division there. Just because it's a military tactic, divide and conquer. All right.
But why do we need the division? Why do we need it?
Well, remember I brought up that quote from Lyndon B. Johnson from years ago.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
All right. That's what it is, because it's always on the forefront of people's mind. How do we divide the population? And here's the thing: is I firmly believe, and this may not be a stance that you all carry, but it's my stance. The reason why I am so against abortion is because I firmly believe that the black population would be much more relevant in this country if abortion never happened in the first place. I believe that it was targeting black communities, Hispanic communities, and Asian communities throughout our country. And I believe that they did it on purpose for white supremacy. I firmly believe that. And
I've seen the congressional record and the documentation that says exactly what you just said.
Yeah.
So I agree with you. But the problem is this. That's a cop-out for people who are doing that.
Right. Because you're the person that's going down there getting it done, and you don't have to.
If people of color want to further their legacy, they will be teaching these kids and the people that come behind him to do what's right and not go to these places and utilize these businesses that are killing babies.
Right.
Well,
Chris, abortion is part of eugenics, which I agree.
The three of us are having a conversation that unfortunately most Americans do not have. They're too busy.
Right.
They're too inundated with everything else that's going on in their life, because there's a lot going on out there in our normal lives. When it comes to work, and I'll be the first one to admit, I did not get as involved in politics as I am right now before COVID happened.
I didn't start till I was 40.
Yeah, something like that.
It was around COVID, right? Yeah, that was around COVID.
The last 5 years have changed lives.
Yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, because I started to see it. I'm like, what the hell's going on?
Yeah, because
somebody's got to say something.
Every time we would look at something that was being said, we would look at it through our emotions and our feelings, and not look at the logical part of what's really happening in the bigger overall picture. And now we've sat back and we're like, wait a minute, there's a bigger agenda to this than what we see. And that's what we're trying to get at, and get other people to kind of get out of that fog, that brain fog of going, well, so-and-so is doing this because they don't like black people. no, so and so is doing this because they don't like what's happening to black people.
The problem, and yeah, I agree, babe. And Chris, I mean, Adam, the real problem that I'm having with the people who look like me is that they're not taking accountability for their own bullshit. And that right there will change things overnight.
Yeah.
If they stop if they stop fucking these fuck people and having babies out of wedlock and not training these kids up to the way they used to be, to the standards that you and I grew up with.
That part.
Where I would walk down the street, and if I fucked up in Mr. Jones's house, he would beat my ass, and then I'd get sent home to my parents, and they would beat my ass to continue. Like that shit needs to happen.
They're not even doing where they were teaching like the courtesy classes and things of that nature, where they're not even
there's
doing
no etiquette classes.
There's no type
there's
of
no
etiquette
shop classes. There's no remember back in the day we had automotive,
right?
We had woodworking,
right? I had both classes.
We had some of them schools had bricklaying classes,
right?
Well, one of the things that
they have social media classes.
One of the things that I've been proposing, and as a matter of fact, being that I'm a close friend with one of you guys' newly appointed or elected, trustees for the school district. Mm-hmm. I've been proposing this out in my county as well. It is completely possible and practical for a child to be able to graduate high school with a bachelor's degree.
Oh, for sure.
Most of the classes that they're taking in high school, they're going to repeat take in college anyway.
It's usually the one-on-one classes.
Yep.
And we
go to
right. And being that we have a standard, a national standard that we go by when it comes to education, and we all, well, us older folk call it the good enough diploma, but the general education diploma. All right. We know what the basics are required for them to pass, and it's not hard to teach up to that level. So moving on from that, if in 8th grade you have kids that are passing a test that is sort of like a GED, why not just move them into college courses right in high school and cover them under that education umbrella and get them to the point where they can hit the ground running when everybody is considering them a legal adult in the first place?
Exactly. Because you can't control them that way. And if you do that, then you're going to take the power away from the government, because now you've given somebody the education that they need to not acquire government assistance when they get older. Now they have the knowledge to actually raise their family appropriately. Now they're going to be 24, 25 years old, making 6 figures in a different tax bracket. They don't want that.
And under the structure of our government, Treasure, whose responsibility is it?
Ours.
It's ours.
It's ours.
Thank you.
It's ours.
There you go.
And that's what I'm talking about, is the accountability. The accountability is like the accountability has been shifted to the government so hard. When they take away something like DEI, they get pissed off about it,
right?
Because the incentives that went along with it is they're too busy happy with being the government being daddy, when they're supposed to have a daddy in the house already.
This lady, I was watching her video, everything she mentioned, she started going down the list, and it was sad for me to look at, because I'm thinking, but you shouldn't be in this situation in the first place if you just work hard to get yourself out of it.
Right.
She started going through the list. She was like, for all of y'all that's on Section 8, who gets food stamps, who is in low income housing, and who's getting WIC. And I'm thinking, yeah, these are all government funded programs that we pay taxes for.
Right. We're paying
people that I'm paying for this shit. And listen, I got it before. I got WIC before. I've gotten food stamps before.
But you didn't stay.
But I didn't stay. I didn't make a life and live on this shit.
You didn't have 30 years of Section 8.
Yeah. And so that's where I'm like, these people are not listening to what they're saying. It's not making any sense. You're so stuck in this conundrum of depending on the government to take care of you, instead of you getting your ass up and taking care of yourself. Bro, and that's where we're at.
I was sitting down with my mother yesterday, and I was talking to her for about 2 or 3 hours. And we were talking about these particular issues because I wanted to use what she was born around the 50s, early 50s. Mm-hmm. So I wanted to see if what I was thinking was proper manner. And then at the end of our conversation, I asked her, I said, Mom, is our culture trash?
Yep.
And she said, no, I don't think it's trash. I just think they're ignorant. I said to her, well, wouldn't that be a choice?
Right.
And she said, yes. She said, the problem is that she said basically what I'm saying. The problem is that we've lost basically in a synopsis, she was saying that we lost the protocols that we used to do back in the day that got carried from family to family to make the family better the next time the next generation was. So and when she said that, I understood, because when I talked to my grandparents who are no longer with us, when I spoke to them, they were saying, we just want y'all to be better than what we did.
Right.
See, my grandfather had an 8th grade education. My grandmother had like a 5th or a 6th grade education. And they ended up owning their own house. My grandfather was military. He built the railroads in California and got hurt. And then after that, they just, he lived until he was 90-something years old, and then he died. But the whole time, he would tell us that y'all need to be better than me. So everything that I've done and made a foundation for, you need to take that and tenfold it. Same thing my parents taught me when I was little. Sean, you need to take this, what we're giving you, and multiply it for the people behind you, so the legacy continues with strength and values and honorability. But it's not happening in our culture.
No, because they depended on getting them food stamps. I mean, listen, I was even told when I was younger, and God rest her soul, my mom said, and I understood what she meant, but I didn't have the luxury because I wasn't married. There wasn't a father figure that was going to work where I could stay home and be with my kids at that time. But her comment was something on the lines of, just basically get on Section 8 or stay home and collect, government assistance so you can stay home with your kids. And I'm like, but if I do that, I'm not teaching my girls anything but to depend on a government system. And that was not the way I was going to go with my children. So going back to what Sean was saying and what you're saying, Adam, is that at some point we have to decide what we're going to change as people. Are we going to continue this cycle? Are we going to go, no, I'm going to do something different. I'm going to do something better, because for me, I can't see myself just being on assistance for 20, 30 years or paying Section 8 or whatever. That doesn't work for me, because I'm still having to follow a rule and jump through some hoops for somebody over here where I got to go
show some paperwork. Your daddy.
Exactly. Yeah. I got to go show paperwork every other week. I got to show you that I'm looking for a job, even though I'm really not. I got, and then it's the mindset that comes with it. And it's true. When you're in a different tax bracket, you think differently. And some people, they argue with it or they don't like it because their mindset is, I'm going to sit here and I'm going to stay on Section 8 for the rest of my life because I'm paying $8 a month for rent and I'm living it up.
But you can't get mad when they cut that funding.
Right.
I mean, you've been on it long enough. You should have been taking that funding and making it better, right, so you can get off of it and move forward.
Because at the same time, even with Section 8, they allow you to buy a house. If you was going to do it, that's the first thing I would have done. I want to buy a house through this shit then, if I can do that.
Right.
You know what I mean?
Chris said, I get what you're saying, Sean. A lot of people won't like what I'm about to say, but I really believe that the main difference between blacks and whites is that whites will shit all over other whites that act like trash, whereas it seems like blacks will defend other blacks that are acting like trash.
Mm-hmm.
This is one of the reasons why I hate, what's it say down there?
I hate and absolutely despise identity politics. Chris, I agree.
Right. Okay, so that part of it is a double-edged sword, because you got people who are black or who call themselves black. They really at the forefront, but they're considered the old heads. They're considered 55, 65 and up, and they're saying, hey man, you shouldn't do that. You should do it like this, you should do it like that. The real problem is we don't have dads at home. And I mean, that's a whole nother show, going back to how that even all started, how dads got kicked out of the house. Mm-hmm. But the accountability like they keep passing the buck of accountability instead of saying, hey, this is what needs to happen. We need to do better. I need to suck it up and do better.
Right. And that's the thing. Again, I had this conversation with a friend a while back. And when we were talking about how Trump was going to come in and do all of this stuff for people who were in a certain tax bracket. And I'm like, listen, the people who have been poor, nobody's giving a damn about them for the longest time anyway. And with all due respect, if you are in this conundrum for so long, you don't give a damn about yourself. Because I'd be damned if I'm going to collect Section 8 and food stamps and government assistance for 30 years.
And then on top of that, so talking about the schooling thing is, why are we sending our kids to go to school if it's not a part of STEM? Why they leaving high school and going to learn cultural studies or
right,
underwater basket weaving or like just
may as well just call it all that.
Yeah, like why they even, first of all, if you're a college, why are you even offering those programs?
Right.
It should be STEM only programs in college, period.
I can tell you why, because it's all about the money. Somebody gonna pay for it, thinking that that's
I'm glad that Treasure said that.
It's their passion to do 100%. Underwater basket weaving. So I need to go get a degree on this shit.
So if there's any, if the country, not only if we want to run the MAGA motto, why aren't they putting stipulations on these schools and saying you can't teach nothing unless it's STEM?
Because
and push our children forward.
Jordan said it. They can't do that because everyone cannot be smart. They need dummies for the general labor.
Well, if they go to school and flunk out, they know that they're a bricklayer or whatever. So, what I'm saying is this.
What are you trying to say about bricklayers, dude?
I'm not saying anything about bricklayers. I'm just saying
some shit.
I'm just saying that's to save my life.
What I'm saying is that it's a job that's done with your hands, and there's usually someone telling you this is how you need to lay it.
To Chris's point, though, his critique of blacks versus white is really my critique about Democrats versus Republicans.
True, I agree.
Exact same reason.
I didn't say Chris was wrong. I just said that it's a double-edged sword. Because
no, I wasn't implying that Chris was wrong in anything.
What we see,
and I agree with both of you guys.
What we see on TV, Adam, is the fuckery. We don't get to see what's good anymore. When's the last time you seen someone graduating on social media or someone going to the military and holding a high rank on social media anymore? Only people want to see is fuckery.
Ratchetness. Those are the things that get, and that's why when people post stuff, they go, this little girl is 12 years old and is in her first year of college, but I bet you won't repost that.
Right. But why do they have to say that?
Right. But you're going to repost the chick that's getting her ass beat by the chick in Walmart.
Right.
You're going to repost the dude that broke in and got ran over by the guy who got home with a gun or whatever. You're going to repost that type of shit.
Right. He said people now say fuck them kids. That's pretty much what everybody's saying now.
That's what they're saying.
You know what? I disagree with Jordan on that one. There's a reel that goes around, and I'm sure you guys have seen it because it's been around the social media for a while now. That little girl that steals her mom's phone, she's running away, and she's giggling about it. Olivia,
baby.
Yeah, that little baby. Dude, it doesn't matter how many times I've seen that reel. I laugh at it every time. I like it every single time. I want more stuff like that in my in my feed. You know what I mean?
Well, and the feed is tailored to what you watch. For me personally, a lot of things that come up about health and eating right comes up on my feed. A lot of political stuff comes up on my feed.
Yeah,
I don't get the
political
ratchet
stuff comes to me a lot.
I don't get the ratchet bullshit because that's not the stuff that I watch on a consistent basis. So that's why the algorithms do what they do their job for the most part. Now, if you share a lot of that type of stuff to people, you may get it. But really, like you say, Adam, you want to see more stuff like that because it's cute, it's funny, it's family oriented. So, but that's the stuff that you watch. So that's what's going to come across your timeline. The people that get all the ratchet shit, that's because that's what they watch. It comes across their timeline because that's what they're catering their time to. So again, going back to what Sean said earlier, we got to take accountability for our own shit. If that's what you're watching every day, that's what you're going to see every day.
If you don't I'm like this. If you don't like something that's happening to you because of a government sanction, this is supposed to be the free world. You're supposed to be able to build whatever you want here. I mean, the totality of the magical dream of America is supposed that you should be able to do whatever you want within the means that you can do it. Now, if you're just sitting back and waiting on the America to make you great, that's not going to happen. No. You got to take the kingdom by force.
You got to make it. You got to make yourself great. It starts with you, dude. Like, just like you got to get up and go to work or whatever it is you got to go do to provide for yourself and your family. How much effort you put in that to making it where you can provide the way you want to? Are you providing at the bare minimums? Are you exceeding that? Are you, that's what you got to decide for yourself.
Well, and politics is kind of a reflection of the culture too.
True.
All right. Look at how popular reality TV and drama TV is.
Oh my God, man!
And I mean, just like what you were talking about before, Treasure. If you like to watch that stuff, it's going to keep coming up in your feed. And quite honestly, the politicians have bitten off on that, and they know that Americans, in large part, like reality TV, like drama, unnecessary drama, and so part of the conversation that we were having earlier regarding why are we still talking about race right now? All right, is because it's reality TV, because it causes drama, it causes nonsense,
causes conflict.
That's right. And it keeps them popular because they're talking about it.
Jordan says, nope, whites don't say a word when other whites are hiding
or holding the others back.
Are holding their others back. I think it's the same on both sides, because when I'm at work and there's some fuckery going on, nobody says shit to them except for me when I walk up on them and say, "Hey, man, what the fuck, bro?"
Right.
Like, what the fuck are you doing, man? But they standing in a crew of people that look just like them, and nobody said shit.
I just had a conversation with a cat at work who is of color, and he said, it's funny because these white guys, they smile in my face, shake my hand, and tell me how great I am, but then as soon as I walk away and turn my back, they shitting on me. So
what I'm saying is that I might be an anomaly in this time of age in the culture where I call out I just say, bro, that's bullshit, bro.
I think as we get older,
I think I might be an anomaly. I think the culture doesn't give a fuck, but I do.
Yes, and I think you're right about that, because especially at our ages, as we get older, we get a little bit more wiser and smarter as we grow in this world. And so we tend to take on that identity where we go, nah, fuck that. And I think that's when we get called the Uncle Tom, the Uncle.
You know how many times I've been called whitewashed, bro?
It's crazy, and it's like, and I even got talked about because of the type of money I make. Well, you think like that because you got money. I think like that because it's just right.
And you work hard.
And I work hard for my money. I worked hard for what I got.
You can call me blackwash then. I mean, because you guys know what I did out there.
Right.
And to the points that are being brought up by Jordan and Chris, all right, I was in a position where I had to police and protect the collective.
Yep.
All right. And people, it didn't matter what demographic they were from. To me, it didn't matter whatsoever. I had to protect the unit.
Right.
And so I made arguments that I knew I could win, but didn't necessarily do it with believing in everything that I was doing, because I had to protect the collective.
Exactly. Yeah.
And those are decisions that you have to make.
Hard decisions.
And they are.
It was like the true blue concept.
Yeah.
Right. Yeah. Right. And I knew that I was doing it for the better purpose, because when it comes contract time, just like we bring up all the shortcomings of the companies, they're going to bring up all the shortcomings of us.
Exactly.
All right. And so anytime that I was in a position where I had to protect the collective, I did. Right. It doesn't matter whether I agreed with it. It doesn't even matter whether I knew the truth or not of it. You know, I had to protect the collective. And so I can understand where they're coming from in talking about that, but it's not necessarily true in all instances.
Yeah, I think that most of it is an anomaly, and because we're to the age where we see fuckery first.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm not at the age where I go, oh man, that motherfucker's doing well. You know what I'm saying? I'm at the age where I'm actually saying, oh damn, get off my lawn.
Right.
You know what I'm saying? Fuck off my lawn. You know, so
don't park in front of my house.
And Adam, I'm in the same position you were in before you left. I'm doing the same job. So
good.
Yeah, the issue, the problem that I'm having with the fellows or the ladies that are out there is that I have their back in front of the companies, but after that, bro, I'd be like, what the fuck is wrong with you, bro? Like,
same thing. Same.
Let me talk to you.
You making us all look bad, man. What the fuck is the problem?
Yes,
which is what you're supposed to do. You know,
right.
In that position, you're supposed to do that. And so
Chris, what he's talking about when he says police and protect, he's talking about we're a union. So
Chris was Chris no. Chris
well, yeah, but he's asking what Adam is talking about.
The collective bargaining
Adam used to be in the same union that you were in before he moved to where he lives now.
He used to be our steward.
He used to be our steward back in the day.
Matter of fact, Adam was with me one time when they tried to make me sign some paperwork.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, at a Concentra, I was doing a drug test.
They was trying to make her sign that paperwork.
And I read that, and I was like, "What paperwork is this? This isn't union paperwork." And the lady started getting an attitude, and Adam came over and said, "Well, hold on.
Yeah,
she's right. This ain't our paperwork. She don't have to sign this shit." Yeah. And I was like, "Y'all want the P or not? Because I gotta go." You know what I mean? Let me know what we doing.
But yeah, I mean, honestly, man, I honestly think that the issues, the real issues that we're having is not being talked about, and people are not holding accountability for themselves, and they're just out in the streets and they're running amok, and then blaming everyone else for the problem.
Themselves, yeah.
And then when something gets cut out, they go, "Oh, fuck this guy, fuck that guy.
He's only doing this to black people.
Yeah, they're only doing it this. But if you didn't have to use it, if you were in a position where you didn't have to use it,
I got one more thing.
You wouldn't even be talking about why it's gone.
I got one more thing because we're gonna get out of here real soon, and Sean's gonna give you his final statement. But just for the people in the back who are saying that he's targeting black people by doing these things, cutting out the DEI and all this other stuff, when you go back, let me just let you know though, when you go back, and I think you mentioned it earlier, on these numbers, statistically proven, we're like number 5 in population when it comes to who's on WIC, who's on Section 8,
right?
Who's getting food stamps. Black people are not number 1.
Yeah, and
Hispanic people are not even number 1.
We can't be number 1 if we're only 13% of the population.
Come on, man. So let's understand.
Let's just snip that shit in the bud.
Just stop
talking crazy,
right? Because the numbers don't fucking lie.
Yeah.
They don't lie. So stop saying he's targeting this, that, and the other. No, there's a bigger agenda.
Right.
And all I gotta do is let's just wait for it. Let's watch and see.
And I'm not defending Trump because
I'm not either.
I let men defend themselves.
Yeah, I ain't defending shit.
You know what I'm saying? So, but the thing is this: am I able to go ahead and give them my
do your spill, baby? Because we're gonna wrap this up.
Yeah. The thing is this: accountability is the key in everything that you do. If you can't be honorable with yourself, don't expect society to be honorable with you. The problems that we're having in society today could be fixed in your own household underneath your kitchen sink. If the problems that we have, the situations that we talk about on all these shows or all this stuff that you see on TV and national television could be fixed by just telling your kids, this is not the way we're going to live. This is the way we're moving now, and this is how it's going to be. But no, people are too passive. People are too soft. People are too LGBT, whatever. On top of that is that if you're gonna bitch and moan and complain about a sanction that's been put on you when you could have had enough ample time in the years ahead of you and the people ahead of you to go to your congressmen, your senators, and your mayors and your governors to tell them, fuck that, we're gonna piss on your fucking shoes if you don't do what we ask you to do. But you dropped the fucking ball.
Right.
It's y'all's fault.
Because somebody gave you food stamps.
It's y'all's fucking fault. Deal with it. I love you. See you next week. Every Wednesday night, 8 p.m.
Hump day.
Hump day. And I just kicked the hump out of your back just now, but it is what it is.
Listen, right. I am Treasure Cheltenham, and I am one of the Hams.
I'm Sean Cheltenham, and I'm one of the Hams.
And this is the Ham Show.
This is the Ham Show, y'all.
Y'all tune in next week. We're going to get on something a little bit lighter, bring a little bit more fun back. But listen, throughout this year, we will be talking about politics.
Next week, we talking about oil prices. No, I'm just
listen.
Love you guys.
Love y'all.
Great conversation.
Love you too, Adam. Thanks for tuning in every week. Chris, thanks for tuning in. Jordan, thanks for tuning in. Y'all be sure to like,
we love y'all.
share,
thank you, and share to your friends.
Subscribe, tell a friend.
Yeah.
Watch the show later and comment. We is out.
Have a good evening.